All right, everybody, welcome in to another episode of the Armory. I am your host, John Schepps, aka Coach Schepps. You can find me on the Twitter at Coach Schepps. You can find the network at the CFB Nation, and all of our fantasy football and NFL content is at Toilets to Titles. And I am here this evening with Noah Short, wide receiver, running back out of Army, Black Knight Nation. Noah, how are we doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Pleasure to be here.
Excellent, man. And you showed up in a big way in the spring game. We're going to talk about that. And you've been working your way up the depth chart. I talked to Coach Thatcher last week. He had nothing but good things to say to you. But I kind of want to go back a little bit. I want to get to your story before we talk about your West Point career. So you played high school football out there in Sunnyvale, California. I'm not too familiar with where that's positioned in all of the great cities
Right.
of California. But why don't you tell me a little bit of where it's located and what it was like playing high school football out there?
Yeah, it's about an hour south of San Francisco. So it's in the Bay Area. I'm originally from San Jose, so Sunnyvale. It's about 20 minutes from home. So not a crazy commute, but it was a great school. Originally, I was planning to go to De La Salle, like my older brother.
Okay.
But some things kind of changed last minute. And the athletic director at Kings Academy, he's a great guy, Joe Mamone, and he brought me and my dad in, and it was a little smaller school, but we fell in love with it. Just the atmosphere and the culture of the program, it was really great. So
Excellent. What positions did you play over there in at Kings Academy?
so I did. They put me at middle linebacker, and then I played some running back, and just some special teams like kick return, punt return. So the
Yeah.
middle backer was more just high school ball, just
Yeah.
put him in the box, go make some tackles for us.
Right.
But it was great. It was a fun experience.
Man, well, I've coached high school football for a little bit. I've never been blessed to coach a player of your caliber. I've had some players go to, some smaller schools like Marist you might be familiar with,
Oh
which
yeah,
now that you're in New York. But you don't put a kid at middle linebacker unless he's a dude and unless he's a leader. So that, man, I was expecting, whenever I talk to running backs, wide receivers, I hear safety, corner. The fact that you played middle linebacker, that is very impressive. Now, did you call the defense?
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it was like I said, it was a great culture, and the guys, man, they're ride or die for sure over
Yeah.
there. And even though it was a little smaller, it made it more tight knit. And in the years prior, our high school really didn't have too much success on the field. So
Yeah.
kind of the era I got in, and a little prior to me, is when the school started picking up. So
Yeah.
it was great.
Excellent. I was asking, did you call the defense? Were you the one relaying the
Oh
calls from?
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Awesome. All right. So then there it is. There you have it. You were a dude. So now let's talk about, your relationship with Army, when they started talking to you, what year did they start talking to you, and how you made your decision to come out here to beautiful Hudson Valley.
Right. I'd say it started my senior year, so it was a little later. Originally, my sophomore year, my first scholarship was to Washington State, and that was when Coach Leach and his staff were there, and they came in, and as a West Coast kid, the Pac-12, I was like, man, this is good. I'm ready, but a lot of high school guys don't know how fluid coaches are in college football, and so he left, and then I kind of really didn't have anything for a minute, but things started picking up. I think Air Force, and then Army called Coach Tuatelli at the time. I think he's at Fresno State now, but yeah, no, they offered, and they by far were even better than Wazoo, and as far as recruiting and checking up on me every week. All the coaches, they knew my family members by name, so that really meant a lot to me. And when they said it was slots were filling up, I really had no hesitation in committing.
Excellent. Now, all right. So now you're at Army. I'm sure it's a little bit of a culture shock coming out here from California, coming to New York. I know close to San Francisco, you guys, the weather isn't, you get some seasons out there, but where we live in New York, the seasons are very strong. You got the fall, spring, like those fall will kick your butt and the spring will rejuvenate you. So what was it like coming into West Point? Kind of going from being a high school player to a college player, transitioning to the cadet lifestyle. Tell me a little bit about that.
Like you said, it was definitely a culture shock. I had the opportunity to go to prep school, so I had a small taste of how things were on the military aspect of things. From the outside looking in, briefly about the cadet life, but there's nothing like being in it and going through, the 6 weeks of basic training and getting your head shaved, no phone, and it's like, man, what I signed up for.
Yeah.
But the coaches there were great. They brought us up to the stadium during then. They were motivating us and my friends from prep. We were a pretty tight knit group, so it was definitely a different experience for me. Um, but as far as my freshman year and because prep school is cool. It's almost like another year of high school. As far as football goes, everyone's the same age. There's not much uh, fluctuation in skill level. But my freshman year is when I really kind of got a taste of man, this is real college ball. Um, but Coach Saturnio, he gave me the opportunity to travel for a little bit on special teams. So that was a great experience. I remember my first play. It was against Coastal Carolina. It was a kick return, and I dropped back. I hit my landmark, and then I went down in the 6'3", about 230 dude came, head on
Yeah.
at me. And that was my first lick, and I was like, man,
Right.
these guys are ready to play, and it was definitely fun, and you can learn to evolve and get better, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a whole nother level.
That's the thing about experience, man. You don't get it without getting it, right? So,
Right.
that's awesome. So you played some special teams your freshman year. You had a huge special teams play against Navy. Why don't you bring us through that play?
Yeah, no, that was something special for sure. That whole week, Coach Saturnio, we were putting together the play. It was pretty much a stunt where um, it was like that. We call it the sixth position, but it's an inside rusher. He fell back late and came to the other side. So originally on the depth chart going into the game, I was number two at that spot. But Coach Satman, he has such a great concept and idea of the game that I got just as many reps as the one did that week, and he was just like, man, just be ready because you never know. So I think it was Jimmy Charlo. He came out for a couple plays and I went in. I was like, man, this is great. I get to go play in the game. And the first time we ran it, I was a little late on the stunt, but I felt the crease there. I was like, man, if I time it up right, I could get it. And so the next one, things just worked out, and after that, it was history.
Man, history. Yeah, you blocked the punt. You guys go on. You win. You beat Navy. Huge accomplishment. I'm sure we're looking forward to that this season. I'll be up there. I can't wait. So, from all the games, all the away games you had your freshman year, what was your favorite stadium to go visit?
Oh, that's a good one. I'd probably have to say Coastal Carolina.
Okay,
The
Chanticleers.
Yep, the blue field, as signature. Just the first taste. I think they sold out that game. And just the fans being rowdy and
Right.
like I said, my high school was real small, so I was never really around that type of environment. But just going into there and a little hostile environment, it was definitely great. That was probably my favorite. Besides, in Jersey with the Navy game.
Right, right. All right. Well, this year you're going to Gillette. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be incredible. I'm sure the atmosphere there is gonna be phenomenal. Now, after your freshman year, you're transitioning. You're going from defense to offense. How did that transition take place? And how have you what did you like what was your game plan for preparing yourself to take on a role that the offense coordinator is asking you to take on?
I'd say at first, I think the initial kind of change started. I was talking to Coach Drinkle about it, and he started proposing it around the Air Force game last year. And I think really when I got to show some of my offensive skills were during the Navy week because we were given the ones pretty much all the reps. So a lot of the guys were doing scout, and I was lining up at slot and receiver. And in my head, I was like, man, I'm a ball at practice. If I get a deep ball, I'm gonna go snag it. So
Right.
you just gotta have fun with it. And so I think that's when the coaches kind of saw like, man, this kid's pretty quick, and you know he can catch the ball a little bit. So when the official transition happened, I was super excited, especially Coach Thatcher coming in and changing up the schemes and airing it out a little bit more. I knew there was going to be some opportunity to make plays, and I'm just trying to take full advantage of that.
So what did you have to, it's like, did you wake up early or get to the field, run routes, like, or was it just, practice was enough? Like, was there anything extra you needed to do to
Oh,
prepare?
definitely. No, there's some stuff in the weight room, some speed equipment. I try to take advantage of after practices. The cadet life is it's all time management,
Yeah.
and it's real hard. But a lot of the guys that came up right after winter break started throwing routes. A lot of the quarterbacks met with receivers and slots. So we had a couple of those sessions and some just speed work and footwork on the field. Definitely helped me kind of get adjusted for spring.
Is there any wide receiver at the college level or at the NFL level you're like, man, like that's who I want to play like. Like that's what I mirror my game after.
I'd probably have to say, even though it's in the past, Steve Smith.
Oh man, that dude's a
Yeah.
bad man. One of my favorite wide receivers. That what an
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Phenomenal answer.
Yeah. No, I love his attitude. He's chippy, he's gritty, and just the way he approaches the game. I
Yeah.
just love it. I just love that energy.
Man, I watched the highlight clip of him. I used to watch it all the time where he was playing against a division rival. It was probably the
Mhm.
Falcons or the Saints, and he scores a touchdown and he comes over to the camera and he goes, "I'd beat my mama like a drum if she was on the other side." And I was like, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
what, what?" Like he is
Yeah.
maniac. So man, so do you flip a switch like that when you go on the field?
I try to.
Yeah,
In practice, it does get chippy a little bit, and sometimes I have to tell some of the guys after, like it's nothing personal.
right.
It's just you got to be like that when you're on the field.
Mhm.
And it's not only for yourself; it's for the team as a whole. If you're, you know, not giving your all for your brother, then it's like, well, what are we out here for?
Mhm.
So there's definitely a little maniac switch that you
Yeah.
got to turn on. And special teams definitely help that this year
Oh
for
man.
sure too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So Ray Lewis used to say, "Oh man, like you got to be pissed
right.
off for greatness."
Exactly.
Right? Like if you
Exactly.
want it, like there's somebody's trying to take something from you and
That's
you
right.
gotta, you're either being chased or you're chasing somebody, one or the other.
That's
Awesome.
exactly it. Yeah.
Awesome, man. So spring game came up. You looked incredible. You guys had a great game. The offense had a great game. What really impressed me was how early they involved you in the offense, how often Dwayne Coleman looked for you in the offense, and the different ways they used you. Like you mentioned, the little bubble screen, crossing routes, down the seam. So they were using you all different ways. So tell me a little bit about the spring game.
Uh, like I said, obviously you split the team up into two. Coach Thatcher was on the other side of the ball. Coach Drinkle and Coach Worley, our quarterback coach, they were in control of our side and kind of calling the plays for us. So they told us that we're gonna throw it out early and try and get the slots involved. Um, so it was just kind of getting the plays in the huddle and then realizing like, all right, like is a screen to me, like got to make something happen. And the guys around me, like I said, Liam Fortner, he's an ex receiver and he was blocking great. And Dwayne Coleman, he had a lot of good pocket composure of finding me. Um, so it was definitely a team collective effort, but it just felt good to make some catches and get some good yards.
It looks like you and Dwayne have a connection. So you guys been working a little extra on the side or what?
Yeah, yeah, no, it goes back to the prep school.
Yeah.
Me and him, we've been brothers for a while now. So you can definitely say we have some chemistry going on.
Yeah.
And he's just a great kid too off the field. He has a great attitude. So I'm definitely looking forward to what he can do for this Army team this year.
Yeah, he's got some zip. That ball flies off his hand, man. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was easy to tell you guys got a little bit of a connection because whenever he
yeah.
was like in a little bit of trouble and needed to move the chains, he was looking for you, man. All right, so let's finish off just talking about the 2023 season. Do you have any personal goals heading into this season?
I'd say my first goal is just to win the CIC. I know last year that was real tough for our team, falling coming up short to Air Force, and you know being a part of this academy. Obviously, we got our big games this year, like Boston College, LSU, Syracuse, but those games definitely take precedence. just from a culture standpoint, and for the past Army players. So I'd say that's my first goal.
Excellent. Well, the next question was going to be, what do you want to accomplish as a team? And that was the answer for your personal goal. So you answered that incredibly. Now you looked at the schedule. I know Army Navy's got to be circled. Is there one game specifically you've circled and you're like, I can't wait to play that game?
I'd probably have to say LSU.
Yeah.
It's growing up, NCAA. You're playing as Alabama, LSU, all these big
Yeah.
schools, and actually going to get in the Tiger Den, um, and actually going to be there with the SEC. They're a different level with the fans and just football overall. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a game that I'm super excited for.
Yeah, I was a big LSU fan. I got a neon light back here. I got to light up, but I got to replace that. So I'm in the process. I'm getting a big Army light
We'll
to
send you
replace
one.
that LSU neon light. I got to get that out of here. You know what I mean?
That's
It's
right.
replaced with a
That's right.
Black Knight logo. All right. This is the last question. Might be a little silly, but we end light. That's what we
All
do
right.
here.
Yeah.
All right. So I've asked everybody so far. I've gotten some good answers. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
Oh, that's a good question.
This is the
That's
only one I put you on the spot. Everything else you were prepared for. This one's on the spot. Uh-huh.
um, man, I'd probably have to say Batman.
Batman. That you're the second person to
Yeah.
answer Batman. All right. Why? What's your reasoning?
um, I'd say it's just he doesn't have any like superhuman abilities. It's all his gadgets and the work he puts in. As corny as that sounds, but I just like his aura too. He's
Yeah.
just he works at night. He's a gritty dude,
Yeah.
and
And he's the Dark Knight. You guys are the Black Knight. So there's some sort of,
exactly.
yeah, I'm starting to think there's a little bit more to it. So,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. Excellent, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I know you are very busy. I'm sure you guys got a lot going on right now. So the fact that you took some time out of your day to join me on the Armory, that is greatly appreciated. I'm looking forward to watching you this season. I wish you nothing but the best. And I'm sure you're going to be very successful in everything you do, man.
I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Take care. I'll see you at practice.
All right, sounds
All right.
good.
Take care. Later.